Oh, what up? What up? That was I done all my stretching and everything. That was literally my first set of squats. I've done plenty of live benches. I don't think I've ever done a live squat on my channel, but I got you, Mullen. I see what you did there. I'm salary man. I don't clock in or clock out. So, but we did work a half day today. All the coworkers from my company are gone. There's a guy who rented a office in our building. He's still here. But yeah, as far as my company goes, I'm the only one here right now. So yeah, man. Gonna work up to some self-wrap squats today. I've never self-wrapped and squatted. So today's gonna be a little bit of an experiment. This 4-week block, what I intend to do is, do my front squats and back squats like normal. Then my Larson presses. And then on this day, I'm going to work up to some wrap squats, and I'll probably even deadlift after I'm done squatting. I've not deadlifted since my gym closed, and I'm going to deadlift on my cheat bar. Like what you're seeing right there is an Ohio Power Bar, and then the one that's sitting on my bench is just some cheap no-name bar. And I got the Ohio Power Bar specifically for deadlifts. I've got the 20-kilo one with the thin collars. And I was going to take it to my gym because we have some better York plates there. I've got a bunch of jank plates here, and there's like that much gap, on either side of the plates. So the bar and the plates coming down and going up, I really don't want to fuck with my good bar. So I'm going to, do it on my shitty bar, which is probably a worse idea because my shitty bar will break first, but it is what it is. The one downside to getting the 20-kilo bar with the really thin close-in collars in conjunction with this rack is, this rack has really wide J cups, and so there's not a lot of room on the racks and unracks, putting the bar back in the J cups. So I got to be real aware of like where my fingers are. And where the actual colors are when I unrack. You'll probably see more than a time or two today. I'll hit the rack itself, with my walkout. So far with the COVID-19, my wife got laid off, so that kind of sucks. I work in transportation. We've seen our 3 biggest outbound customers either shut down or have massive layoffs, so that sucks. But we've been busy. We've been hauling a lot of overflow for a grocer distribution center. So like we've been hauling a lot of paper towels and toilet paper, some of their overflow to stay busy. But my job will probably be fine for the most part. We got approved for the small business, payroll insurance. So we're not going nowhere. Hopefully our customers, this tides us over until they get back up and running. And my son goes to private school, and they're not going back to school for the rest of the year. They're doing some virtual schooling, but they're still charging me full price tuition, which I'm kind of butthurt about. But yeah, so that's that. That's what's going on there. Um, it sucks. I'm really pissed, but it is what it is. Oh. My knee's not feeling any better or worse than normal, I guess. So just kind of an average day. But y'all get to see just how long it really takes me to warm up on squats. I only post top sets, so that's all you guys typically see. But I take extra time to warm up on squats. Like I said, y'all didn't see none of the stretching or mobility pre-squat, but y'all are literally seeing like my first set of squats through my working sets. Let me go refill my water bottle. I'll be right back. Shit, y'all can come with me. Fuck, I'm bullshitting. Gym in a tire pit. Yeah, water. Just a second, guys. And I am, still at work. I have, there's a chance I may get a phone call. I'm live streaming from my phone. So if there's an interruption, I promise I'll be right back. I'm actually going to unforward my work phone right now. No emails. Thank goodness. Okay. It's super convenient, having my shit at work. So shout out to my boss for allowing that to happen. I don't think many people have that luxury to be able to have a pretty solid gym setup out of their place of occupation and or the freedom to come and go when I please. What's up, Eric? Let's see if I can get this propped up back how I had it. Man, like any program that's progressively overloading and allows for some rest and growth is going to be a pretty good program, regardless of the name. Most all cookie cutter programs that are popular are at the very least good, and cookie cutter programs, like if you're a beginner or novice, will take you a long way. At some point, you're going to need individualized programming for yourself and some auto regulation and stuff thrown in there. Let's get this last set with one plate. Oh. Y'all get to hear all the wonderful noises too with no music playing in the background. Yeah, and it's 225 now. You should be firing your glutes before you descend on the squat, tightening them. I'll show you guys what I was talking about earlier with not wanting to deadlift on my good barbell because of the space plates. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this on the camera. It's kind of dark over here. But you see how much gap there is right there between like the plate and the bar itself? Like there's a lot of room for up and down wiggle. Like you can, well, from my angle, yeah, see, you can see daylight through there. So I'd like to get some better plates in the future. But for now, this is what I've got to work with. So when I deadlift, it'll be on my shitty bar. But it's actually a 20 kilo bar, so 44.2 pounds. It's not a 45-pound bar. I got the 20 kilo variant because of the thin collars. So that would be 224 pounds technically. But then I've also weighed the plates on the inside, and one of them is 47.2, one of them is 46. The plates that are sitting on the outside, I actually just scored those this Monday. I got those, this set of plates, 45s, and this tree to hold the plates for $175 on Monday. So, you know, with what prices are now, like that tree's $150 brand new, and people are being dicks about pricing right now, which it's the market. I understand supply and demand. So I was fortunate to be able to pick those up when I did. When I get my top sets loaded today, it's going to be a pretty jank way of loading it, just because I'll have to put 35s and 25s and change and shit on there. I've only got 8 45-pound plates in total. So, hopefully I can pick up some stuff after this is all over, when all the panic buyers decide they need to panic sell. Happy birthday, Nick. With squatting, it's not really too big a deal with the diameter problem. Obviously, the weights are going to move around. Like you'll hear them clanging a lot. But it's not nearly as noticeable on squats and bench as it is on deadlifts. On deadlifts, it fucking sucks. Oh yeah, it's a 20 kilo Ohio Power Bar. Like I just got that 2 months ago, maybe. And then I've got a cheap no name bar sitting on my bench right now. My wrist grab. Nobody here to rub chalk on my back. On my hands on the board. I guess I could take my shirt off and chalk it myself. Do that before it gets heavy. Jeff, I just uploaded a video about Thor and Eddie Hall this morning. I see both sides of it. And at the end of the day, like, all publicity is good publicity. So there's not a lot going on right now with coronavirus. So it's entertainment, at least, I guess. I think Thor is doing what any competitor would do, and Eddie is doing what any personality would do who makes money off this shit. And the one thing I don't like about that rack is the spacing on the holes. They're not tight. You know, there's big gaps in the spacing. I've had to adjust my setup a little bit. But I got that rack for $400, and it's rated for 1,000 pounds. You know, you can buy attachments and stuff for it. It retails for $700, so it's a deal. I could make do. I bought it before the outbreak, pandemic, whatever you want to call it. Timing was really good on my end, as you know, gender shut down now. So I'm glad, you know, I got the equipment I do have when I did. It's not, you know, I don't have access to everything like I did at the gym, but I've got more than most right now. And I can still squat, bench, and deadlift. So for that, I'm happy. I'd like a nice set of like 10 45-pound plates that weren't so loose in diameter in regards to my barbell, but again, having something is better than nothing. Yeah, well, at least that one, it's got holes going all the way down, thankfully, so I could floor press if I so chose to. It's really, you know, for the money, it's a great rack. That's, you know, the thing with the holes is really the only negative. In the, I don't know if the width is so much of a negative as far as, because my bar is what it is. It's the 20 kilo with the thin collar closer inside. It probably wouldn't be as big of an issue with my cheap barbell in there, but again, for, you know, getting it almost half retail and being able to train right now, I'm certainly not going to complain about, you know, little nitpicky stuff. Yeah, I've got, let's see, you know, this Ethos rack. It's an Ethos weight tree, a Dynabody bench. My only complaint about the bench is it's not adjustable right here. And I think I'm probably going to make a permanent change to this bench and just raise this lip and raise this inner part up because it's my bench. And if I just put it to my normal height, I really don't need to worry about adjusting it anyway. But that brand new Ohio Power Bar side, between the rack, the bench, that sheet bar, the plates, and that tree, I've got right at $1,000, in equipment. And then, toss in, it was almost $400 with shipping for the Ohio Power Bar. So, I mean, all in all, still for everything I've got, I'm in it fairly cheap, and I will certainly be on the lookout post-pandemic for more stuff to bolster my gym. I'm not gonna quit going to my gym either. Like, I'm still paying a gym membership. My gym owner said he would freeze all the accounts, per member's request and not charge them. I told him just to keep charging mine. I want the gym to still be there when this is all over. So while I'm still working, I was saving up for another rental property. So I've got a little bit of a cushion to sit on should things go bad. He said my job's not going anywhere. So I told him, feel free to keep charging me. He's paid a lot of my meat injury fees. He's bought me lifting shoes, given me t-shirts. So it's the least I can do to help out there. But I'm still going to be looking to add to this, as time goes on, because it's super convenient having my own gym, which is why I bought it in the first place, was for convenience. I had switched to, I used to go to my gym on my lunch break and just forward the office phone to my cell phone, which it sucks sometimes having to work from away and interrupting your gym session. So having a place to train here with my office on the other side of the wall was a lot more convenient. So I'd been training here 2-3 days a week and 1 day a week at my gym. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, 10, there's big time scratching on the sleeves. That's just something I have to live with, unfortunately. Yeah, I do like the social aspect of the gym. At this point, most of my friends are gym friends. That is almost exclusively all of my social time is at the gym. So yeah, I miss that part a lot too. And, I'll always keep my gym membership, even with having the convenience of a home gym. This should be the last set with 2 plates. Like I said, this just goes to show I'm probably taking longer rest periods than normal on my warm-ups, but I take a very extensive amount of warm-up sets, particularly on squat and deadlift days, just to make sure everything's fired up. Bench press, I can kind of get by with a little bit less, but I've learned to take my time with the lower body stuff. Bump up another plate. Yes, Big Chris is my fucking hero. That dude is a fucking monster with overhead press. Jesus Christ. And he's just some dude in a gym is what I like the most. Like he's not a competitor. He makes no qualms about competing. He's just some ridiculously world-class strong motherfucker who likes lifting weights. It's fucking great. I think it's amazing. That sleeve noise is satisfying. Yeah, that sucks, man. It really does. And that's going to be my first move, hopefully, after this is all over, is trying to find some good plates for cheap. Francis, my boss actually tried to move me to a different spot with my gym stuff here. And I pleaded with him to let me have a place where I could press over my head that wouldn't hit the ceiling. And thankfully he allowed that to happen. Again, shout out my boss. Yeah, Mitchell Tom's another one. Like his 500-pound reverse bench press, fucking nuts. Squatting 585 on a deadlift bar, fucking insane. Yeah, I'm not too worried about the aesthetics of it. Scratches and stuff I can get by with. It's warping and stuff like that is what I'd be more worried about. And yeah, I'm gonna keep lifting, but I'm also gonna be on the lookout for better shit. When there's better shit available, certainly. Let's try not to take too much time in between these warm-ups. The self-wrapping I'm going to be doing today is going to be interesting, as I've never really self-wrapped before. So any of you guys with your funny haha channels may want to get the old screen recorder out and make fun of me on video when that part comes. Funny how 3 plates can feel so light one day and feel not as light on another. Mitchell Tom does have some crazy hillbilly strength. I fucking love it. He's been doing it for a long time too. He's been consistent. He was home gymming before Brandon Campbell was home gymming. I like Tom's old bent bars and shit too, from all the abuse they've seen of him just slinging heavy motherfucking weights all the time. And if you ever talk to him, he's a fucking nice dude. Like, he could completely be an asshole if he wanted to, because he could rip your fucking head off. But he's genuinely a nice guy. I think that adds to his character. How many of y'all are out of home gyms, and doing body weight stuff to pass the day? I know, like, the days I don't lift, I go to a park and walk the trails, which is something I enjoy doing on my off days anyway. And I try to get some body weight squats in, some push-ups, do a little body weight circuit on Saturdays and Sundays with my son at the house, and get the blood moving, pumping. Let's go hit one more single with this and then add another plate. Clang, clang, clang. And now these, they look like 35s. I promise they're 45s. Just don't make print shit. You see they're 45s. I've even weighed them. They're 44.6. I think the other one's 44.2. They look so small. Doing weighted pull up, push up. Yeah, I mean that's what we got to do right now. It's of course better than doing nothing at all. Obviously not the same as being at a gym, but I think for a lot of people, especially if you've been training a long time, hopefully this lockdown, quarantine, whatever, doesn't last terribly long. You know, at the beginning, it was projected, everybody was saying 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And 2 weeks out of the gym would have done a lot of people more good than harm. But, you start looking at 2 months and, it sucks, but you can still build that foundation. You can work on your cardio, work capacity via, crazy amounts of body weight, workout circuits, things like that. Finding stuff to add resistance. If you got resistance bands, you get your kid to sit on your back while you do push-ups, your wife, etc. There's ways to try your best to maintain and set a solid foundation for what's to come. And I think if you don't have access to equipment like this, that should be your primary goal, is building a big, wide base, and allow yourself that potential, as you climb that base and build that pyramid, to make it taller and taller. Obviously, the wider the base is, the taller you're going to be able to make your pyramid as it goes up. If you get that analogy. 37 minutes in and I still haven't done a working set. Yeah, bands right now are worth their weight in gold if you don't have access to equipment. You can add good amounts of resistance to pretty much any movement. with bands. So I definitely, if they've been collecting dust, something you should probably look at, utilizing right now. This will be my last beltless single. That felt lighter than 315. Well, weight's up to 4 or 5 and yeah, Floppa for sure. But better to have than have not times like this. Stuff ready here. I've got my 3 meter ends or overkills are in here, and I've got a 2.5 meter power belly felonies right here. So I'm going to start with these. Again, I'm not someone who's ever self-wrapped, so this could be interesting. My mobility is shit. 2, I don't have these tight either. Gotta do a little more top, whatever. It is what it is. Oh yeah, this is gonna be like the most terrible fucking wrap ever. Oh yeah, that is a god awful garbage fucking wrap job. I guess if we make this one equally as terrible, it'll all even out. Come on, motherfucker. Oh yeah, world's worst wrap job right there. I might have to get the 3 meters just because there's more rep to play with. All that did was make my legs go numb and not give any pop out of the hole. So I'll try to make them a bit more taut this time too. I can get more out of them. Obviously, I was never going to get much out of a self wrap anyway. Yeah, we in the buffet right now. Yeah, high reps can be great for off season. Not just hypertrophy, but conditioning. Like I said, building that base. You're not going to directly benefit as far as if you take your 315 squat AMRAP from 20 to 30, it's likely not going to directly impact your 1 rep max, but it's going to build a base and a foundation. And should you take that, increase 20 to now 30 rep max, and then gradually over time, decrease the volume, increase the intensity. Obviously, that's traditional linear periodization. And it will benefit you down the road. It's just not going to be something like, I squatted 500 today and and I can do 315 by 20. I'm going to train for 2 months and now I can do 315 by 30. Now I'm going to go squat 550. It's not going to, work like that, obviously, but indirectly could certainly be a benefit. Yeah. Let's go grab a pair of needle nose pliers to help this out. Oh, my wife's messaging me. Well, I probably did make the lift harder. That was fucking terrible. I've never used bands on the bench, and that's not to say that there's no use for them or anything like that. It's just something I've never done, so I can't give firsthand advice or anything on that. Ooh, those are greasy. Those are a little... Me complaining about tools being covered in grease when they're in a mechanic shop. What a noob. What a noob. You should do the trick though. Hopefully. No, I think doing a fuck ton of calf work is probably overrated in regards to powerlifting. But just doing some calf work. I mean, your calves do some work in squats and deadlifts. They're part of the whole. So it's not like it's going to not benefit it. And I would certainly argue that there is some benefit to doing calf work. Obviously, not a huge benefit. But you're going to want to have strong everything, so it's not something that I wouldn't not do. But yeah, you don't want to have any weak points, and having everything around the knee being strong and balanced is going to be good. You want your hamstring strong. That's usually where knee injuries come from, is quads being stronger than hamstrings. I'm in the bathroom right now. I gotta piss. I'll be right back. Wash your fucking hands. Surround sound, yeah. Yeah, Ethan, like everything works together in relationship with one another. Shit, we're out fucking paper towels. Again, don't forego like bench squat or deadlift work, or shoulder work and things like that. Don't forego them and waste too much energy on some of the more minor muscles, but don't neglect the minor muscles anyway, either. And a lot of those little muscles, they get worked too with some of your more compound movements. Like your forearms aren't not working during the bench press or deadlift, but it certainly could be valuable to give them a little bit of extra love. I'm going to do 405 one more time. See if I can get a little bit better wrap job going on here. This is one thing where the power belly does not help. Nor the T-Rex arms for that matter. Gosh. Oh, you son of a bitch. Feel a little bit better this time. We'll see. A little bit better, slightly better wrap job. We'll call that one the second world's shittiest self wrap ever. That's progress. Should be doing homework watching powerlifters. I appreciate it. In another lifetime, I would love to be a sumo wrestler. I'm a fan of their training and their diet habits and their hierarchy in general. Nick, like, I couldn't squat for a long time. It was too painful, and I felt like my knee was going to explode. As of right now, I've mentioned before, I don't remember if I mentioned on stream or one of my videos, I've always, even as a teenager, I had Osgood-Schlatter's disease in my left knee, it's very tendonitis-like. I've got a permanent big bump on my knee right there. And it's always kind of fucked with me. It's been there in the background. I really haven't talked about it much because I don't like to make fucking excuses. It is what it is. But I always dealt with that. And then, that probably some of that, it carried on into adulthood with tendonitis. And that slight bit of weakness and me pushing myself a little farther than I should have. And, my meniscus went. So now the big thing for me is just being mindful and trying to differentiate on some of the more painful days and stuff. Like, is it tendonitis? Is that residual pain that's always been there and will always be there? Or is it from the old meniscus tear and something that would, be a bit more catastrophic should it fail? And that's a lot of the reason why I've not been doing as much volume. Like, if you notice, like, going into the meet, like, I literally just worked up to a heavy single, and then didn't do any back offsets or anything after that. I had a guy who offered to coach me for free, which I let him. He did my bench press going into it. He was going to do everything, and I think the first squat day was something. It was simple, like 435 or 425 for 3 sets of 5 or something like that. And man, like 2 sets in, and my knee just couldn't handle it. And of course, he gave me a hard time for squatting 600 at the meet and not being able to do 425 for a 3x5. But the volume tends to affect it more, and it not being able to handle the volume so much as the intensity. Like, working up to a heavy single, obviously, like, not an RPE 10 single, but relatively heavy within my capabilities, hasn't really been too much of an issue. But trying to push any sort of volume seems to aggravate it way more. And like I said, that issue having kind of always been there looming in the background anyway, I feel like that's why uh, I've gotten so much out of wraps. My best squat in sleeves is 650. My best squat in wraps is 775. And I think a lot of that has to do with, the wraps providing that pop out of the hole, where, a weakness in your knees or quads would be really glaring. And it's not a weakness in my quads at all. My quads are pretty strong. But the old knee there, it doesn't hold up quite as well. And so, you kind of, wraps take a little bit of that out of the equation. And that's why even, before this injury, I was able to get so much out of wraps because it does take that weakness away. But for the most part, it's just been, being mindful, listening to my body, and if I feel like something is going to cause an issue or be detrimental, just taking a step back and calling it off. Not being so rigid with my programming, which at some point, if you're a beginner or a new, follow the fucking program and stick to the fucking program. Suck it up. But once you're a more experienced, more advanced lifter, you got to really start listening to your body. And even if you're self-programmed, or if a coach programs you, X set for X reps, and you can't handle it, your body's saying, "Hey, dude, we can't fucking handle it. This is gonna hurt." You got to know when to call it off. And a good coach should be listening to those in regards to pain and injuries and stuff like that, and make adjustments on their end to help you. Because any coach worth their weight in gold, they're not going to be like, "Oh, this is the fucking program, stick to it, or you're a piece of shit. No pain, no gain." That's what differentiates good coaches from programmers. Like, anybody can write a program. Programming is not fucking hard. You can literally read one fucking book and know how to program somebody with very little experience. There's a shit ton of people who offer, online coaching. They just send you a cookie cutter program because that shit's fucking easy. But actual coaching requires a bit more detail and nuance. There aren't very many good online coaches. Really? Work. Okay, let's see if we can get the third worst wrap in human history this time. I feel a little better. We'll see. think I'm getting better at the self wraps, guys. My bar's fucking loose. Wasn't so bad. One of my truck drivers just texted me. Hold on just a second. Sorry. Oh. Willard, yes. Overtime wrap would be detrimental to your knees. If you never ever plan on competing in wraps, you should probably never use them. Oh, Nick, for sure. Yeah, being scared of your own body fucking blows. Yeah, and I could see how the kneecap itself certainly wouldn't lend itself to wraps. And, you know, when like I'm self wrapping right now, and getting a self wrap, you know, is completely different than having, you know, some 6'6" dude with a 700-pound deadlift cranking down on them. Like when you get an actual wrap from another power lifter, like you have to have, you know, you gotta be sitting down, have to have legs straight out, and then your quad flexed so it doesn't move your kneecap. Like I said, right now, me just self-wrapping, you know, I have to move around my mobility. I'm not getting near the wrap that you get when somebody else wraps you. So yeah, like you could probably like get by with loose knee wraps, self-wrap, and it's not gonna hurt you and it might protect somewhat. But having somebody wrap you is fucking painful, and yes, can lead to injury over time. Yeah, that was pretty crispy. That is 475. Fucking math is hard. What's a 50 would be 5 25. I mean, technically everything I've done has been a self-wrap PR. So, hooray for PRs. Yeah, no front squats today. Yeah, I'm aware of Big Lenny. I know who he is. I don't follow along with their content, but I do know who Big Lenny is. Me too, Gerardo. Stay safe. Wash your hands. My opinion on bodybuilding, it's changed some over the years. Some years ago, I thought bodybuilding was just some pussy ass bullshit pageant. And I mean, the competition part of it, is still pretty much a beauty pageant anyway. But I have a lot of respect for those guys. The training and dieting they go through. So like just to have that negative opinion of it like I did before isn't really fair. Granted, there's, steroid use is obviously rampant in bodybuilding more so than even powerlifting. But I'm not against people's personal choice. And again, like the work and diet that goes into prepping for a bodybuilding show, I've got nothing but respect for the competitors in that regard. And then there's a lot of things that can be taken from bodybuilding and applied to powerlifting in terms of off-season work. I mean, realistically, if you do any kind of like linear periodization, your off-season is probably going to look like a bodybuilder anyway. The only difference between bodybuilding and powerlifting, transitioning from off-season to in-season, is a powerlifter, you're going to take that muscle that you built and use it to display strength. And whereas a bodybuilder is going to take that muscle they built and cut down and chisel away body fat to display the muscle itself. Conjugate method is a fine method. It, like many other methods in regards to training and powerlifting, takes an intelligent lifter and or coach to program it. I'm certainly not a fan of the limited specificity of like Westside's version of conjugate, but that's for geared lifters, so it's a whole different thing. I think if you're a raw lifter, you can certainly make adjustments to it, to suit the raw lifter's needs more. And again, just conjugate itself is just a method. Like it's not Westside, it's not Louis Simmons, it's not necessarily. Ooh, shit. We are down to 5% power. Let's see if I can find an extension cord and a charger before we run out. There's an extension cord. Race car. Damn, my phone probably gave me a warning at like 15% too, and I didn't see it. Let's see. And this one, huh? Stretch. Probably gonna have to go get a phone charger out of my truck. Bear with me, guys. Trying to make sure this live stream doesn't end early. I have a key to unlock my desk to get the key to my truck. Charger. Oh, we all want to make it, bruh. No phone, low battery. It's a race. Let's see if I can get my charger before the battery dies. So many locked doors. Okay. Charger cable. We almost there, boys. Lock that back, RIP headphone users. Lock that one. Sorry. Probably making you guys dizzy. Okay. Almost there, bros. We have power. Was at 2%. See if I can prop this cord here. Should go around there. Okay. I think we're good now. That was a nice little adventure that I did not expect. Okay. Now then. Get back to the self-sabotaging. Shit. That might be the best one yet, guys. Just might be. Oh, you motherfucker. Piece of shit. Damn, I had it going too. Ah. Man. That felt horrible. I think I had my stance too close. Do the video footage here. That unwrap was fucking terrible. That was awful. First strut didn't look terrible. Sometimes it feels worse than it looks. I was intending to, do 3 sets of 3. That second one just felt a little jank, so I called it off. Again, it didn't look bad, but it is what it is. So you gotta be able to adjust. Yeah, that knee wrap waddle. Yeah, this is the one at work too, Char. I don't have one at my house. I'm just grateful that my boss let me put this in here when he did. This is actually my first session ever self-wrapping. So you guys are getting to see me adjusting real time. Yeah, I've got the overkills are in the bag over there on my bench. I didn't want to use them today. I brought them just in case because they're 3 meters. These are 2.5. And I thought that, you know, if I had problem wrapping myself, that I would just grab the overkills out because there's more wrap to work with. It might be a little easier to get tighter. You know, these are going okay so far. These aren't wraps that I would use in a competition. Obviously, those overkills are my competition wraps. But I wanted to. I'm not really, you know, as good as I am at wrap squatting. I've not had much experience in wraps in regards to training. So I wanted to spend some of this off season just getting more comfortable in wraps, period. And I was going to be doing that on Sundays where I have training partners. But with everything that's went down with the COVID-19 and stuff, you know, learning to self-wrap, you know, it's another skill to add in the old repertoire, the old bag of tricks there. So, you know, learning experience is what it is. Retighten these bad boys. Try to get a better unwrap next time. Yeah, when I re-wrap, I'm always off a little bit. Just help a bit. Take a minute here. I know, low battery phone. I've got you plugged in. Yeah, wraps are weird. And especially, like, they fucking hurt when you got somebody wrapping you. Like I was talking about earlier, it's a whole different ball game. Self-wraps versus very strong people cranking down on them. But again, I wanted to spend some of this off season just getting used to wraps more. Back strength for the bench. It's more important in geared lifting, but it's still very important with raw lifting. You know, that's your foundation. That's what you're laying on. That's what's stabilizing everything. You could potentially have a pretty good bench press with a pretty weak back. But at some point, you know, it's going to be holding you back. You're not going to be able to get by with just dive bombing the bench forever. And now out of, you know, having to, there are some people who dive bomb the bench by choice, and that's their technique. But I've seen more than a few lifters who just don't have very strong backs. And when they bring the bar out, you know, they'll lower it, and then about right here, they just lose all control. You know, sometimes they can press it back up after that. But, you know, you never want to be out of control. You want to be able to lower the bar as quickly as possible while in control. A slower descent under control is better than a faster descent with no control. Yes, row the bar into you is definitely a geared cue. You don't have to pull the bar into you while you're doing a raw bench press. The bar will bring itself to you. You just need to control it. That's definitely something with geared benchers trying to touch. Yeah, and you know, I benched 500 without doing accessories. They are important, and I would never tell somebody to not do them or ignore them. But, you know, you can get strong without doing them, just not as strong as you can possibly be. It would benefit you to do them. The main problem with my knee is having Osgood-Schlatter's disease when I was a kid, and tendonitis as an adult. It's repetition is what leads to my knee problems, just overuse for the most part. To a degree, grip width is preference. Obviously, the longer the arms you have, probably the wider you're going to want to grip it, for most people. However, the stronger people get and the more we bench, you'll see a lot of big benchers. They tend to bring their arms in over time. You just get better power off the chest inside. Do I like feet? Yeah, pretty feet equals pretty meat. Girl ain't got clean feet, she's probably got a dirty pussy. Somebody post that on one of those channels. Whatever your knee pain is, address it immediately. Mitigate that knee pain. Find what the cause of it is and stop causing it. And if there's any preventative exercises out there for your specific needs, do them. Let's get back in these reps. Motherfucker, I did it again. Son of a bitch. At least I'm consistent, I guess. See if we can get a good unwrap this time. That was much better. Now, if I could wrap my right knee like I do my left knee for once, I might be getting somewhere. That was definitely the best so far. But it felt the best anyway. Look at it here in a second. Oh, wow, that first one was really great. Second. Third one didn't have quite as much sink on it. That was a good set. Happy with that. Wrap these up. Yeah, I go from the bottom to the top and I crisscross. And yeah, I'm probably getting more gassed out from wrapping than I am from squatting. Oh, I don't dislike Ripito per se. He is dogmatic to the point of getting in his own way. And he makes these like completely ridiculous, dumbass statements, which I'm sure because his cult follows him, it feeds into his ego. But you know, it's again, dumbass polarizing statements that have nothing to do with nothing. He was not an accomplished lifter. He's not an accomplished coach. USA weightlifting did fucking nothing with him working with them. His ideals in regards to weightlifting are even more absurd than his ideals in regards to powerlifting. It's it's pretty terrible. I will say starting strength is a fine beginner program. You know, a lot of people will say, oh, you're not a fan of RIP, starting strength, blah, blah. I think starting strength is fine. You know, I'm a fan of linear periodization, bias aside, linear periodization and my love for it. It's still, you know, starting strength covers the basics pretty well. I just, again, like saying things like the trap bar is useless. His recent video about the kettlebell, like powerlifters in particular, could certainly benefit from kettlebell work. Even kettlebell swings, like I program almost all of my lifters that I've ever coached to do kettlebell swings and or dumbbell swings if they don't have a kettlebell. It is fantastic for getting your glutes to fire and practicing a hip hinge. So to say something like that, to, you know, throw it out or whatever is insane. You won't find any big name weightlifting coaches or powerlifting coaches really endorsing him in before Stan Efferding. Stan Efferding is selling coolers and fucking vertical diet programs Ripito has a huge cult following. Of course, Stan is going to go on Ripito's channel, on his channel, and endorse Ripito because that is a huge, huge client base for sales. So yeah, there's he gets so much wrong, and he's so polarizing about it. And from people I know who know him personally, allegedly, I can't say this with any sort of conviction, but it's from people who I trust, and people who are coaches, have been elite lifters, have top 25 all-time totals, said that Rip is, just a drunk, rambling idiot, and have seen him coaching lifters in person at meets and is just fucking terrible. Again, that's allegedly. That's not me saying that. That's secondhand from somebody else who I do trust. Multiple sources I trust also go along with that, but I can't say that without a shadow of a doubt. So there's me ranting on Rip. Yeah, 5x5 has been around before Rip, before Ice Cream Fitness from Blaha, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, kettlebells are great. Most anybody who shuns any specific tool, be they bands, be they chains, kettlebells, trap bars, you can make use and apply it to powerlifting with a myriad of tools. You're exposing your own ignorance 9 times out of 10 when you're saying something is useless for powerlifting. And I know I made fun of people who use bands before, and it's not the bands, it's the people and how they're using them. If you're using bands and saying this is a 365-pound bench press PR because you had X amount of band tension, you're a fucking idiot. That's the people that I despise in regards to bands. I don't despise the band use itself. If you want to say this is 225 pounds of bar weight and the red bands, and that's a PR for me with the red bands, fucking go for it. That's great. If you did 185 before with the red bands, and now you did 225 bar weight plus the red bands, and that's a PR with the red bands, fantastic. But saying, oh, this is a X amount of weight PR because I've got 50 pounds of chains where half the chains don't come off the floor and X amount of band tension, unless you've measured precisely where you lock out your bench press and the amount of tension with one of those tools that you weigh, scales or something with a luggage scale. And even then, you don't know how much amount of tension it is at the top versus the bottom, et cetera, et cetera. You can't put a number to that. Just train consistently with, whatever the bar weight is, whatever the band is. If it's a red band, if it's a black band, if it's a green band, and you increase your bar weight with that band, fine. That's that band PR, but it's not X amount of weight. It's not, this is a 300. You don't bench 365 pounds unless you bench 365 pounds. A barbell weight on there to a standard. Oh, I have Hunter Austinson blocked on my Facebook now. Like, it was fun while it lasted, but he would just fucking private message me the most useless shit over and over. I finally had to block him. I could no longer handle it. Exactly, Tim. Oh, Hafthor who? He needs to get on your level. No, I don't know. Like, your private messages are fine, dude. It's Hunter was just ridiculous. If you weren't around during the Hunter Austinson era and you don't know who he is, then you probably won't get it. He was the most obnoxious, absurd, uh, annoying power lifter slash bodybuilder slash semi pro football player slash outdoorsman that there was. I don't know what Stubing was to he who I will not speak of. Mark's always been cool with me, so I don't have any problem with the Stubes. Though I find out he was sending nudes. There's actually funny story about Hunter. It was in a Facebook group. Something was asked about dicks or something, and he claimed that his dick was one size regular, but it was another size, like an inch and a half bigger when it was carb loaded or something. It was the most absurd thing I've ever heard. It was fucking hilarious. I wish I still had the screenshots of that conversation. Yeah, Hunter selling programs was absolutely absurd. He had no business selling anybody programs. He was probably ripping off Ben's programs, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that what he was doing? He was taking Ben's programs and selling them with maybe the slightest of alterations. I'm almost positive that's what happened. Holy shit, that's fucking great. Peaked it like a competition lift. Jesus Christ. Oh, people are so absurd. Let's get this last set in before I get too cold here. Yeah, he was definitely coached by Ben Seath. That's where he was training at too. And I'm 99% sure that it was Ben's programming that he was reselling. Oh. Ooh. It's like a German virgin. Good tight. I shorted myself 1 revolution. YOLO. Oh yeah. Wasn't too bad. Could definitely feel my right knee wrap again. Not nearly as good as my left knee wrap, but I'll take it. Oh. I must have ran out of storage space. Stop recording. Oh, at least it's not like it's a PR or anything. So. And I guess I'll leave this live stream up. Always steal the footage from it. I was worried about that too because I haven't done a video cleanse in quite some time on my main phone I record my YouTube videos with. That's my fault for not getting ahead of it. Oh well. Chat with you guys for a moment before I call this a stream. No, my walkout game is pretty inconsistent right now. I try to take no more than 3 steps. But sometimes, I just forget. Yeah, it's again, unless you're brand new, building muscle and burning fat at the same time isn't going to be a very viable strategy. If you small caloric surplus if you want to build muscle steady and over time, small caloric deficit you want to burn fat steady and over time. Throw drugs into the equation, and it's a different ball game. But that's beyond my field of knowledge. Guess I'm gonna go actually purge my phone of the videos here after I cut this stream off. Yeah, the self-wrapping is definitely more time-consuming and energy-sapping than the squats themselves were, for sure. That last set, I like to end like that for my last set to be my best set. Pretty happy with that. Don't delete the nudes on accident. I've got most of the good stuff. My part-time porn starring elsewhere. Definitely backups for backups. Ain't trying to lose that shit. I remember the first time I tried recording something like that. And I went back to rewatch it, and it's just a big fat blob humping. It was a terrible angle. If you're going to record relations with a lady friend or a guy friend, whatever your preference, or any of the other 72 or 73 genders, make sure you get the angles right. Much more important in that scenario than lifting. Trust me. If anybody wants to fire off the last couple questions, I'm going to end this, clean up, put my stuff up, and head out of here. But I'll take a few more questions if there's any. Your gender is long. I'm sorry to hear that, Stellar Door. I'm sure you can meet a nice friend in a chat room. Oh, no problem, Lars. I enjoy doing these live streams. Rare that I get a chance to do something like this. I thought today was pretty fun, actually, especially being that it was my first time self-wrapping. So you guys got to kind of see that with me. And definitely my last self-wrap, while I still made an error, was much better than my first self-wrap. It's hard to recommend a weight class based on height alone. How wide your hips are, what your build is, your anatomical proportions. There's more that goes into it than simply, what weight class should I be in? It's too nuanced to say just based off your height alone what weight class you could be in. Rich Corona, smaller by the day. Rich Corona, smaller by the day. My CrossFit show, motherfucker. Yeah, always go SHW. Always. That should just be my generic reply to any of that. 4'11", SHW. Be a bench specialist. There'd be a squat specialist. Fuck, you're 4'11" and super heavy. They're not going to be able to tell depth anyway, so they're just going to give you white lights. Just do it really fast. Yeah, still here. I'm done. I'm done lifting. Just going to answer a couple more questions and then get on out of here. I've actually lost weight since all this is happening. Of course, I started cleaning up my diet, right before the shutdown, and I'm not tracking. I'm not following anything strict. Basically, I'm eating 3 meals and 2 snacks. What would that be? Saturday through Thursday. Only like clean food. My snacks are like strawberries or cashews or something like that. Generally, my breakfast is oats with berries and a protein shake. And my dinner or my lunch this week, for example, has been a half pound of ground beef with some beef hearts and kidneys mixed in there with rice and vegetables. And then again, like strawberries, cashews, protein shake for snacks. And then my dinner will be like 1 to 2 pounds of lean meat with vegetables and a carb, usually potatoes or rice or something like that. On Fridays, I eat whatever I want. Like this morning. This morning, I went to Bojangles. I got a biscuit and gravy, a steak biscuit with a side of gravy, a large order of Bo Rounds, 2 Bowberry biscuits, and then I went across the street to McDonald's and got a large mocha and 2 apple pies, and that was breakfast. So I'm not looking to cut per se. I was just looking to clean up my diet a little bit. I competed twice in short order. And, I like to keep my weight up for competition, especially being USAPL, like everything above 264 is super heavy. So I really needed to drop. I always drop weight after meets. I didn't feel like counting calories right now. So I just figured I'd clean up the diet 6 days a week. And then on Fridays, just kind of YOLO it and eat whatever I want. And I went down from about 310. I was 297 this morning. It's been pretty steady loss. I've not really felt any strength loss or anything. So I'm just going to continue eating clean 6 days a week. And I've even noticed on Pete Cornelius, yeah, fucking right. Like on Fridays now, like this morning I splurged a bit and probably ate way too much, but I started to even feel more like shit on Fridays when I eat what I do. And that's a good sign for me because it's a reminder. And over the last 3 Fridays, like the first Friday I went to the grocery store and I got like a whole fucking chocolate pie and a bunch of candy bars and shit and just ate like pure shit all day. And each succumbing Friday, now that my body's readapting to eating super clean, like I eat less and less junk because it makes me feel like shit. So yeah, and I have no real goal with it other than just slimming down a bit. If this were to take me down near 270, which I don't think it will because I'm still eating a lot of food, I would then at that point like intentionally add some calories. I don't really want to go below 270 at this very moment. So yeah, that's what's happening right now as far as diet goes. JJ's my dude. I like JJ. We had a bet not too long ago. Well, I guess it might have been like a year ago now. And I lost the bet. It was on football, and there's a video on my channel of me repaying the bet where I wore a very small, too small for me, Wisconsin shirt and did 315 pounds for a set of 20 on deadlifts. It was rough, but no, JJ's my guy. I like JJ. Well, that's the thing, Tin, is I can eat impossible amounts of food. But like I said, as my cheat days have went on, it's becoming less junk food laden anyway. So even now, eating what I want, it's starting to turn into other. My breakfast today was pure fucking trash, but fuck, it was good. It's starting to turn into more just still clean food, but more of it with small snacks involved that may be like a single candy bar or something instead of like 3 king size Snickers at once. So I do have that ability to eat ungodly amounts of food. Oh, not at all, or not all. It's I'm not at home. I'm at my work. If you want to be even more jelly, like I get to have all this shit at my work. My boss is cool with it, so yeah, I'm very grateful. How much better now? I'm back up to 18%. Yeah, I'm in trucking. I'm essential. I guess I can take you guys around. I've done office tours before, but there's bench, my rack. It's kind of our old tires. Yeah, the IPF is stacked with monsters, dude. There's a bunch of great lifters. With air in them, I want to say they're around like 100 and something pounds. I'm not 100% sure. Without air, they might be more than 100 pounds with air in them. That was actually my first job in the industry, was changing tires. But anyway, let's go. Let me go turn the rest of the lights on, take you guys for a walk. Which I still every now and then, like if our mechanic takes vacation or something, I have to get out there and change tires. It's good for morale when the truck drivers see me changing tires. They assume when I'm in the office that I don't do anything, which is typical for people to assume of their bosses. But I do a lot of work in the office, but they get a kick out of me getting out there and changing tires. And a lot of them at this point don't know that that's what I used to do. No, I'm the only one here who lifts. I tried to get my boss's son to lift with me, but he doesn't want to. There's only actually 1, 2, 3, 4 of us that like work here in the office full time. And there's one guy who rents one of the offices, but man, race cars and forklifts, truck. You wouldn't be able to tell that we're a trucking company for the most part, because we usually just keep toys and shit back here. So we got a nice lift back here now. This Oldsmobile Cutlass is a bad motherfucker. I'll show y'all in a second. But I keep my 55 back here. There's some videos of this thing running on my channel. But yeah, I get to keep my car here at work. I get to keep weights and shit here at work. It's fucking dirty right now. So dusty back here, but that's mine. Which it'll be about time to get it out shortly. Got like an inch thick layer of dust on it. Yeah, that's gross. Oh, it's a super chill place to work. Like, I love it here. Somebody would have to pay me a lot of money to go somewhere else. But yeah, this standard issue Oldsmobile Cutlass got some rims on it or whatever. However, under the hood is a fully built turbo Buick Grand National engine. It's dynoed at 700 horsepower. And I like even like the interior. Outside of a little bit of wiring over there on the other side, the interior is still all stock. So this thing's like a fucking great sleeper. Old G-body doors don't like to close. But yeah, like you would never ever know that this is what's under the hood when you saw this thing. That's cool as fuck. No, I'm not an engineer at all. My job title is fleet manager of a trucking company. So basically what I do most of the hiring, most of the recruiting. I handle all of the e-logs. I dispatch all of our local drivers. I don't dispatch the over-the-road drivers anymore. We kind of reevaluated our positioning there. I do some of the safety stuff. I talk to the drivers on a daily basis. Basically, I make sure the fleet's running smoothly, aside from the actual dispatch itself, and maintain the e-logs. I also broker some freight, which right now our brokerage is non-existent because there's not a lot of freight going around right now. So when you don't have an overflow of freight, you don't have freight to broker. So none of that's happening right now. And we just reopened our brokerage this year too. I was excited about it. I've not brokered freight in a long time, but brokering freight is great. It's essentially like if I get, I've got 10 loads and they pay $1,000 a piece. We've got the capacity to cover 8 of those loads with our trucks. I'll then go searching for other companies' trucks and try to get them to haul it for $700 a piece. And then my company, makes that $300 profit on each one of those loads. Like we take the $1,000, we say, hey, we'll cover your load. I take that $1,000, I pay company B $700 to haul the load for me. And then we've got $300 in profit without, using our equipment, without paying for fuel, things like that. And I get nice little bonuses based on my performance there. So one bonus in and the old coronavirus hit. So that's not happening no more for the foreseeable future. But yeah, trucking is a good industry. It's an industry that's not going nowhere. It's obviously it's going to be hurting right now because of the coronavirus, and a lot of factories and manufacturers are shutting down and laying people off. But transportation and the hauling of goods is an industry that even one day, if it's not trucks anymore, things still have to get from point A to point B. So I like working here. But anyway, we're 2 hours and 15 minutes in. The lifting's all done. I'm going to leave this live stream up if anybody wants to go back and watch it. So I enjoyed it. Hope you guys did. Peace.